welcome back to the show, everybody. Who did I miss? No, I think I got everyone. Well, oh, and not Igal. Igal's there. Welcome back to the show, everyone. I want to go to Jess first of all. Good win. Smashed 3 goals past them very early. A little bit lackadaisical in the second half, but I suppose you're just happy to be back to winning ways tonight.
Yeah, that was a typical Arsenal performance from this season, I think. I don't we score a lot of goals. We look really good, and then we have like one moment of just like poor defending. We're harshly punished for it, and then we're upset because we didn't get a clean sheet. It's kind of what we do most of the times at home. But what I will say is it doesn't matter how we won today. We just needed to win. That game for a lot of Gooners, I think, looked a lot more difficult on paper because of what we had done in the last 4 games than actually ended up being. And surprise, surprise, you show up, you play well, you defend well, and you win. Like we should be easily beating this Chelsea team right now. So I think all in all, like we played really well, had one moment of like, where Zinchenko switched off, and that was pretty much it. So I'm happy that we're kind of back on track and we can kind of restart and maybe see the team play with some freedom. But yeah, I think Arteta made a good decision to drop some players. I think Jorginho made a good account of himself, a player that's been underused since he's been in the team or at the club. Like, why do you bring in a player with that level of experience and you're not playing him? Trossard had a good game. I think he was unlucky to be taken off. And Kivior, where I know a lot of people will say it was the opposition, but what a difference it makes when you just have a competent Premier League level defender back there. Like sometimes it's just about the confidence and like not having somebody back there that encourages, anxiety. And it was just so obvious to see that we just needed to make a change. And I love Arteta. Everybody knows that, but he had choices and that choice probably should have came earlier. So I'm glad he got to it now, but it still may be too late depending on what happens with Gabriel. But good game, good 3 points. Some really nice goals in there. And I think the next step for this Arsenal team is when you're on top of a team like that and you have them 3-0, like that, you have to get 4, get 5, get 6, put the game fully out of their reach and just move on from there. But I'm happy about the performance. I really am. I know it doesn't seem like it, but I am.
I get what you mean. Like I don't expect Arsenal fans to be jumping from the rooftops because of the last 4 matches. I expect there to be more of we came back, with a good result. I saw you, Igal, this week talk about what is a bounce back. I think tonight is a bounce back, would you say?
Terry, I wanted 7. Honestly, I felt like when they scored 3, we could have done more. We could have punished them even more. I felt like after we scored the 3rd goal, we kind of did what we usually do and say, you know what? Kind of gave them a little mercy. We gave them a pass. I honestly believe it could have been 5-0 instead of 3-1. At times we weren't as clinical, and to say that after the performance that we had in the first couple minutes, I just want to shout out some people. Granit Xhaka, shout out to him, hat-trick of assists. I didn't think he would ever get to this many goal contributions in a season, and what he's been doing this season, you got to give him credit. Martin Odegaard, get back in a brace. That was a good performance from him. When you look at the fact that Gabriel Jesus has been injured for majority of the season and still somehow got 10+ league goals this season so far, that's another thing that deserves some praise. And then go back to Mikel Arteta and what we said before the game against Southampton, before the game against Man City. We asked for some changes. Today he made those changes, and those changes you see in the impact that it made. This is what you do. De Zerbi showed you don't need to have world-class players in all these different positions. You don't need to have a team full of class players on the bench. All you need to do is utilize your bench when need be to push and motivate other players. Guess what? Some of the top teams in this league, like Pep Guardiola's team, Man City, they take people off just to know how they're going to act in training the next day. So we got to start doing that. Mikel Arteta has to be more ruthless with his substitutions and his rotations. And today it was a good time to rotate. I don't think this Chelsea team is that good, so I'm not here to celebrate like crazy. To be honest, I treated this game going into it the same way I would treat the game against Bournemouth. If we lost, I would have been embarrassed, and if we win, I'm not going to over celebrate.
Yeah, I understand not over celebrating, and I also said in the build up, I don't know if you were backstage or not, but I think there'll be an element of disappointment that the 4th and the 5th goal didn't come in, but that's just also like a greed thing. Like we're playing Chelsea in a few weeks at Old Trafford, and on a personal level, I hope Lampard's there, and I hope that we can slap them up. But at the same time, I'll take a 1-0. I take a scrappy 1-0.
Terry. that we conceded to Chelsea.
Yeah. Well, at least
okay, football gods. Football gods.
Yeah. I hear you on that. Souls is here with us. How you feeling as a Gooner tonight, bro?
I'm not gonna lie, a bit deflated. Again, you know what it is, right? I know we won, but it's like now that you know the foolish period, we take April Fools a bit too literally, and we make ourselves look like fools every April. Now that that's over, we're gonna start performing. You know what's even more disappointing? Now that he made the changes, you could see how much control we had in this game for the large majority of the game. Kibio came in, played well. My annoyance comes from, why didn't this happen earlier? Why didn't this happen against Southampton? Why didn't this happen against West Ham? Why didn't it happen against Man City? And why now? Now that the pressure's off, you now want to make these big calls. This isn't bravery. This isn't, making decisions when it matters. This is the easiest option he could have done. It was so blatantly obvious he could have rotated in this game. I needed him to do it when it really mattered. I know people are going to sit there and be, why are we being harsh? But we've legit bottled it, and a lot of Arsenal fans can't call it out for what it is. We've bottled those last 4 games, and now we've performed. Now we kick on. I want to see this against Newcastle. You've got to still be ruthless. This isn't, oh, you've won now, so that's it. We ease off Arteta. The pressure's on the manager because he's the one picking these players. He's the one that's picking the lineup. And now I want to see him continue being ballsy, continue to sit there and go, you're not performing, so you're off. And it has to be, I'm going to be honest with you, Bukayo Saka has to be dropped. His performances lately haven't been to the level, whether it's tiredness, whether it's just form, whether it's mentality, whether it's the pressure's gotten to him, whatever the reason is, he has to be dropped. I need to see a reaction from him. He's had it too easy. I'm going to be honest with you. Like, look at Martinelli when he came on. You could see, okay, there was a bit more energy about him. Gabriel Jesus was like looking at that team and going, shit, okay, he's made rotations. I better get my goal. He got his chance and he scored. There was a potential for him to set up a second goal when he kind of held on to Thiago Silva. Good hold-up play, good centre-forward play. And he looked more like himself today. So clearly certain players are getting that kick up the backside. Now it's over to Zinchenko. Now he's the next player I've got my eyes on. Because this is now the 3rd time in a row he's switched off for a goal. Or maybe even the 4th game in a row he's switched off for goals. It's not even like, it wasn't even a lack of awareness. The man saw Mudieke make that run and goes, go on then, you can make that run if you want. That's just not on. It's not on. And the other thing I'm disappointed about? Why the hell do we keep getting cocky once we're up? We've done it against Liverpool. We've done it against West Ham. Southampton just didn't let us get cocky because they scored in 25 seconds. Otherwise, we would have got cocky in that game as well. And look at what happens. We start conceding. The other team starts getting control of games. I don't care about this win, to be completely honest with you. I'm very, very disappointed it took this long. And the lesson I wanted them to learn was to humble themselves in this game. And they've done the complete opposite. They got their early lead. They got their 3-0 up. And then guess what they did? Oh, we're too good for this team. And then they concede. That needs to be cut out. That has to be cut out. Because if you do that against Newcastle, that's a 3-3, 4-3 potentially. We're just lucky we came across Chelsea because that could have ended very, very differently against the likes of Brighton. That could end us differently against the likes of Newcastle. So we need to cut those out. This is just me being constructively criticism because I'm treating this team like they're contenders for the title. I'm not going to treat them like they're a top 4 team. And this is exactly how people need to be responding.
Mate, I think there's so much truth in what you said there. Of course, we are going to move on to talking Chelsea in this reaction as well, people. So make sure you're staying with us. Make sure you're hitting the like button as well. Brandon, I've seen a few people on Twitter with similar thoughts to Souls. Also talking about Kivior. He's shown tonight that we did have other options rather than holding. And by the way, when I say we had other options, I'm repeating their tweets. I'm not speaking about it as if I'm an Arsenal fan, in case anyone gets triggered in the comment section. But is tonight almost bittersweet because you won and played well, and maybe if you'd have made these changes sooner, the title race would still be on?
Yeah, big up go Souls. I couldn't have said it any better myself. Let's start with Chelsea, right? 3-1, that looked respectable. That was not respectable at all. We battered them, absolutely cleared them out in the first half. Chelsea, they're very lucky that there's not 4 or 5 games more than what there actually is left of the season. Otherwise, if I was a Chelsea fan, I'd be very, very fearful of getting relegated because that's how poor they are at the moment. They are terrible, absolutely terrible. I couldn't believe what I was watching from them, to be honest with you. I thought Odegaard, man of the match performance. 2 great goals from him. Trossard was excellent. Jesus as well. Granit Xhaka, you know, Gal's already pointed out with a hat-trick of assists. Jorginho controlled the midfield really, really well. Kivior had a good game, but I wouldn't be getting too gassed about that because at the end of the day, he was up against a finished Aubameyang who had 6 touches in the entire game, and up against Kai Havertz, who, let's be honest, is not a striker. So I'd like to see more from him in the next couple of games before I go saying, yes, you know, good player, whatever. But yeah, good game from him. Hopefully that'll give him a bit of confidence. However, again, I'm going to go back to what Saul said. Where was this, you know, over the last couple of weeks when it actually mattered? Where was it? And I'm not just talking about, you know, the players either. I'm talking about the manager. Like Saul's already pointed out, these changes should have happened weeks ago. Now, all of a sudden, no pressure FC, and we're not expected to go on and win the league title. Man City are the favourites, and we turn up again. It's not good. It isn't, you know, and you have to have a certain amount of constructive criticism as well. And I'm sure Arteta will, you know, be relaying this to the squad as well. You have to constructively criticise in order to improve. And we as fans have to do the same thing. And again, Saul's pointed it out just a minute ago. I'm going to point it out. Zinchenko, when are we going to start having a conversation about this guy and his defending? Awful. Switched off again. And as Saul's pointed out, that's what, 3 times in the last 4 weeks? You know what I mean? And it's not about his positioning either. Like, this guy he's just not a very good defender at all. And unfortunately, you know, you're 3-0 up, you're cruising, that happens. And if Chelsea were a better side with more confidence, we'd probably be worried in that last 20 minutes. All because of a stupid error. It's just, he's got to improve on that. Mikel Arteta as well, like Saul's again has already pointed out, he's got to start being ruthless with this squad. And look, there's always hope. And I still have hope. And I know all the rest of the Arsenal fans on the panel have hope that hopefully Manchester City can drop points and we can continue to win games. I don't personally see City dropping any points. But all we've got to do now is continue to do our job, go to Newcastle on Sunday and make sure you get a win.
I hear you on that, mate. And listen, as I say, I get the frustration after what you've been through in recent weeks. What's your reaction to tonight, mate? You wanted you said on the Top 6 show you were going to humble Chelsea tonight. Do you feel you humbled Chelsea this evening?
Well, that first half performance, I said on the Football Terrace yesterday, the game will be done by halftime. I said we should score minimum 2 or 3 goals by halftime. We did exactly what I said, and I'm actually very, very. I believe Man City might drop points. Okay, some of you guys might think City can win every single game, but they only need to lose 1 and draw 1. That are the next 7? They've got 6-7 games left. So I've still got hope. Win all our rest of our games, and we just hope that City drop points against Brentford away or Brighton away. They've got West Ham. I think they'll beat West Ham comfortably. But going back to the game, yeah, I also Arsenal fans were disappointed we couldn't score more goals in the second half. But there was a lot of rotation. There was a lot of players going off the pitch. So I wasn't very, very disappointed. And our back 4 was a makeshift back 4. And Chelsea we can disrespect them, but they still score goals in most of their games. They've got a good attacking lineup.
Hold on, they have 1 goal in April.
We scored 30.
We always concede. We always concede at home anyway. I think we've only kept like 2 or 3 clean sheets. So scoring against us at the Emirates is not a big achievement anyway. We always concede against the top teams, against the bottom teams. So it's not a big achievement.
But don't say they have.
Going back to the game. Okay, sorry about that. Okay, going back to the game. I don't know why there's any negativity. Okay, we've tried our best. We've dropped points against Liverpool. We've dropped points against City. Okay, but come on. If we finish second by 1 point, yeah, I'll be heartbroken we don't win the title. But come on, we'll go next season, sign a couple of quality players, and go again in the summer. So I'm very
George,
very excited for next season.
George, we was 8 points clear with 9 games to go, mate.
We
Of course, it's going to be disappointment.
We were never gonna win 10 games in a row.
George,
the
8
last
points
games
clear with 9 games to go, and we dropped points against Southampton, West Ham. Yeah, games that we should be winning. West Ham. What West Ham this season? Southampton are bottom of the league, bro. Don't come with that crap.
No, man.
Yeah? Okay, can I pop in here really quick? I just feel like this conversation that we're continuously have, like, we get it, like, we're not happy, we bottled our lead, blah 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 blah, but like, we won a game and we have a couple of games left, and I think there needs to be a focus. Like, how many times are we going to go back and forth and, oh, we were up by 8 points, and oh my gosh, West Ham, Southampton, those games are over. I think we spend way too much time on wins. We spend way too much time on losses. We need to move on. Like, we can go over that at the end of the season again about how it didn't happen or whatever. But like, we just won a game. We can criticize some of the parts of the performance, but I just don't understand why we keep going over it. Like, we've had so many conversations over the last 5-6 days about how we're not going to win this league. I don't know why we have to keep doing it. If he wants to be deluded and say that we're going to win the league, just let him do it.
I didn't say we're going to win the league.
Whatever, that we have a chance. That we have a chance. Like, just let him do it. Like, I don't understand. He'll either be right or wrong. Gotta move on. Move forward.
You know what it is? These moments, I just want one more thing. These moments, they don't come every season. Like, challenge for the title. This is the first time we've challenged for the title since, 2008. So, I'm enjoying this moment. I'll see what it takes me to the end. In the end, if we don't win it, then I'll be critical about what happened. But for now, I'm enjoying the ride. Anything's possible, okay? They need to drop 4 points. That's it. So it's not a massive mountain to climb. I'm having my hopes up. We've got 5 games left or 4 games left, and anything can happen.
You know what? Keep pressure. One second. I just want to say this. There's nothing wrong with saying we should keep pressure on City. That's all I want. I think all of us here want us to go and win the remaining games and keep pressure on City in the case that something happens. I don't think that was saying we're going to go on and win it. To have hope just means continue to believe in your team to win all these games, as we all want our team to win the remaining 5 or 4 games that are remaining. And if we can do that, even if we don't win the league, we can look back and say, you know what, we lost it against City, and next season we have to at least get something off them home and away. And that's where we can look at and say, you know what, that's where we lost it. But it is what it is.
I hear where you're coming from there. In terms of Chelsea tonight, boys. And sorry, Staffy, are you here to talk more Chelsea or more Arsenal?